Okay, so what is the kinetic sequence? Well, the kinetic sequence, what we're talking about is a little bit different than the kinematic sequence in the golf swing. So with the kinetic sequence is we want to understand better where the forces are coming from in the golf swing. So we know in the kinematic sequence how we want to see things move, but where can we focus on force generation? What can we move to create more force in the golf swing, essentially? So this is what all the best golfers do to create a forceful, powerful swing. They have their kinematic sequence down, and you can look at it in a different light, that being the kinetic sequence. So when we get to the top of the backswing, most of the best or elite level golfers, before they even stop rotating into that backswing, will start a lateral weight shift forward. So as they're still going back, we start to get that little forward weight shift. I'm kind of exaggerating here. That creates a little bit of that stretch shortening cycle like we did. So you can think about creating force in the lateral plane. That's number one, that lateral shift. Then as we come back around, what they'll do is start to tilt. So this is this kind of frontal plane torque. So we're creating force into this tilt. This helps bring the club down. After this, they start to twist, right? So this is that rotation. That's that transverse plane. It's what everyone knows about in the golf swing. They think it's all rotational around the transverse plane, but there's really also rotation in this plane, right? Like we talked about, there's also this lateral side-to-side glide. Now, of course, it's minimal. We don't want a ton of lateral glide, but there's a touch of it, right? So top of the backswing, as we're still going back, we still have this little slide, little glide, and then we have a little tilt, and then a twist, and then there's a little bit of a bend moment where you can think about where the golfer is just kind of bending a little bit. This is believed to help keep the posture or the angles of the golfer as we're coming into this downswing, to keep us from going into super extension position here, that there is this little extra bend. And then the very last thing that you will see after our slide, tilt, twist, bend is that vertical up, right? So as we come up, as we get to this position here, you see that extension through here at that knee and that vertical force, right? So that is the sequence of forces in the swing. We have this lateral little shift. We have a frontal plane torque. We have a transverse plane torque, that twist. We have another sagittal plane flexion. So again, flexion through that sagittal plane, creating force. And then that vertical force where we're going straight up through there. We're pushing that front foot away and this back foot backwards and away from you, creating that vertical and twist force. So that is the kinetic sequence. That's the forces, where the force in the swing is essentially coming from. It's important to understand that sequence of events to create as much force as possible in the golf swing.